Right guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm just going to be showing you how to remove and install a SRAM Force AXS GXP 12 speed crankset. So let's go ahead, let's run through the steps. Right, so first thing we need to do is undo the non-drive side crank arm to remove it. So you see a nut on the end there. Now what that is there's a 10mm hex head on the outside that you can see that fits there like that. Now we're not interested in that one. The one you need to do is an 8mm hex that's down inside there. So that goes in there in the middle and locates down in the middle there like that. So that's the one you need to undo. These are self-extracting crank arms. So the 10mm you can see there on the end is just a nut on the end. The actual one in the inside here is, when you undo it, the 8mm is coming out and then hitting against that cap on the end, and that's what's pulling your crank arm off of the splines. So you need a decent socket for this, not just a normal hex head. You want a socket put in there, and also what you want is a decent sized bar for it to undo it, because they can be tight to undo because the nut, the 8mm in there, is torqued up to 54 Newton meters. So if you've never had yours undone before, then they can be tight to undo. So that's why I recommend using a bar to undo it with. The more leverage you've got, the better, and the easier it'll come undone. So you can just locate your tool in there, your bar in there, and then you can hold on to the crank arm and then pull up on the bar. And this is anti-clockwise, so normal threads. I'm pulling up on the bar to undo it, and you can just hold the arm at the same time like that, and it should come undone. They can be tight like that. And once you've got it undone, you just carry on undoing it, and it'll be tight because it's pulling it off of the splines. So it'll go slack after a few turns like that. So once it's gone slack, then you can just remove the bar. You can just do it by hand or with a ratchet like that. Just keep undoing it and it'll just come off like so. And there you can see on the inside, I'll show you that, the 8mm goes through and is turning that. You can see the thread there on the inside is turning that, and the 10mm on the outside there. So goes down inside like that. So that's the arm removed. Now all you want to do then is just get a rubber hammer, soft blow hammer. Don't ever hit it with a normal hammer, you might damage it on the end. Then just give it a tap like that. And as it comes out, you've got to watch for the dust cover, dirt shield there on the end will just come off as you remove it. So just be careful, don't lose that. Then you can pull it out from the drive side like so. Let me just remove it from that side, and there it is. Right, so when it comes to fitting the SRAM Force axis, now this is a GXP bottom bracket and GXP crankset. So this happens to be a threaded GXP bottom bracket. Now if yours was a press fit version into your frame, say you had a carbon frame and had a press fit GXP, then on the spindle here, before putting it through in place, on here you would slide on a wavy washer on here first, slide that on, and then slide the crank through. But because this is a threaded bottom bracket GXP, then it doesn't require the wavy washer, only if you've got a press fit bottom bracket. So what you want to do first is put plenty of grease over the shaft, the axle going through the middle. So put on plenty on there a liberal amount all over there, like that. And also, before you slide it through, just put a bit on the bearings on the inside there where it's going to go through, just because it'll be metal on metal on this side, so it just helps it go through and stop getting stuck in there. So once you've done that, then all you got to do is, like I said, this doesn't need the washer on it, so we can just offer it up and slide it through like that, and then make sure that you push it through so as it's gone all the way. So locate it like that, and then we can fit the non-drive side crank arm. Right, so we've got the crank put through there. So what we do is now, like I said, this is a threaded version, bottom bracket. So what we do is, with the dust cover for the bearing, what I'll do is I'll just put some grease on there first, just to help keep the water out of the actual end, the bearing there, because that's a bearing you can see in there. So I put plenty over there, and then with the cover, it's got GXP written on the outside, so we can just slide that over in place. You just push it into place like that, make sure it's right in there, and then we can fit the arm. Now what you want to do is, with the arm, make sure you've got plenty of grease over the splines sticking out there, like that. And also make sure there's some on the thread on the inside there, and you've got plenty of grease in there on the splines down inside the arm. And then what you can do is, obviously opposite side to the drive side arm, and just hold it in place like that, and then just get it located in place, and then with your 8mm hex down through the middle, you can start winding the arm on. Just be careful not to cross thread it, it should start easily. So just wind that on like that, and just keep going until you stop by hand. Just keep winding it on like that, and we can't do it no more by hand. So then we get a ratchet, and we carry on tightening it up. And this is just pulling the arm onto those splines. It's clockwise to do it up. So do it up until it stops, like that. So you can't go no more. And then the torque on that is 54 Newton meters of torque. So therefore it requires a big torque wrench. So if you haven't got one of those, then I suggest just doing it up with your 1/2 inch ratchet as tight as you can. Just hold the crank arm and then do this up, make sure it's snugged up tight, and that should be plenty. Right, so after you've fitted the crank set, what you want to do is grab hold of the crank arm like that, and just hold your frame and just rock the crank. Just make sure you can't feel any play in it at all. So just rock it side to side, just make sure there isn't any play in it. If you can feel any play at all in it, then what you need to do is remove the crank arm again, then tap the spindle back through, so as you're removing it, and then on the spindle through the middle, just put some more grease on there than you add on it. Put plenty of grease on it again and put it back in, and then same again, put some grease on the end of here again, and then tighten it back up again and try it again. So that's if you feel any play in it at all. but if you put enough grease on it and done it, you shouldn't feel any playing it the first time. So that's it fitted. So if you found the video helpful, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe and I'll see you then.